Today, let's talk about learning or study goals. So let's say you're about to start learning statics and you want to focus your attention on learning 2D equilibrium of rigid bodies. So this is going to be a very important section and a big section under statics. So for this section, you want to build a study plan for the week. So maybe you're using an Excel sheet, your Google Calendar, your own planner, whatever it may be. So you want to have a weekly study plan for this 2D equilibrium section. So what should you write in your study plan? What is the goal you're trying to accomplish when it comes to learning 2D equilibrium of rigid bodies? So for your learning goals, you may write something like this. So let's say you write learn 2D equilibrium or learn statics 2D equilibrium. Or maybe you write learn how to solve 2D equilibrium questions. So now here's the big question. Are these goals or learning goals good learning goals? Are they going to help you structure your entire learning process in a way where you can perform at your best on exam day? The short answer is no. So these goals seem pretty simple, but they're not actually that useful because they don't really help us know whether we've actually accomplished them. They do not help us answer these questions. So at what point in our preparation would we say we've learned 2D equilibrium? Or another question is, how would we know that we actually learned 2D equilibrium? And this brings us to the main point. 50 plus years of learning science and learning research has shown good learning goals have three main components. They have to be precise, they have to be measurable, and they have to be related to vital skills we're trying to learn, practice, and apply on exam day. Please note that developing good learning goals like this with these three main components will take time and it will take some practice. So you're not just gonna instantly build good learning goals because you have to do some prior work. You have to have some prior knowledge to the skill you're trying to learn. Let's say 2D equilibrium. And this is best learned, let's say, from an expert, from, let's say, a good professor, a good teacher, or maybe the step-by-step solution you see in your textbook. And this all goes back to worked examples, whether they're done by a professor, a teacher, or possibly just written good worked examples, then you're beginning to see what you need to learn, the steps you need to apply, the process. Why did we draw a free body diagram? Why did we use that equation? So good worked examples will lay out every step. They will lay out the assumptions and they'll just give you a good idea of the vital skills that you're trying to learn. So now let's redefine our original learning goal for learning 2D equilibrium. So a good example of a good learning goal might go something like this. So you might write this. You start to be able to solve 2D equilibrium by drawing the right free body diagram and applying the three equations of equilibrium. Let's closely look at why this is a good learning goal. So notice how we started the learning goal with these words, to be able to. So we do this on purpose, and framing your learning goal in this way is just gonna look at what we're actually able to do. And the big question is answering this, are we able to solve 2D equilibrium problems by drawing the right free body diagram and by applying the three equations of equilibrium? Next, notice how this goal is more precise. So it's not as simple as saying learn 2D equilibrium. We're going to be a little bit more precise. So it says to be able to solve 2D equilibrium problems by drawing the right free body diagram. So notice how we have that step in knowing how to draw the free body diagram, or as a quick scratch, or maybe having just a visualization in our head of the free body diagram. Then we want to apply the three equations of equilibrium to ultimately do the steps and arrive at a final answer. So it's going to be more precise because we have a sequence of steps that we learned, let's say, from an expert, from a solution, worked examples that we need to apply, or a process or a procedure that we need to apply to get that final answer. Now, is this learning goal measurable? So it's kind of hard to see it, but it will be measurable. So remember, we're framing a learning goal with to be able to do something. So we're framing it and measuring whether we're able to actually do the 2D equilibrium problems, draw the right free body diagram, and apply the equations of equilibrium. And the best way to measure whether we've actually accomplished this learning goal is by doing lots of practice. So this may be the practice questions you have for that section, 2D equilibrium, or possibly the practice quizzes, and that very important practice exam. And if you're not accomplishing this learning goal right off the bat, that's totally normal. That's fine, and it's expected because you will gain some feedback from, let's say, the problems you messed up on, and then you wanna possibly redefine your learning goal. So maybe you'll redefine it by saying, solve 2D equilibrium. To be able to solve 2D equilibrium by drawing the right free body diagram for, let's say, inclined plane problems, and apply the equations of equilibrium. So you're just slowly building and redefining, let's say, and getting feedback from what you got stuck on, the mistakes you made, and what you're struggling with. Then you're redefining your learning goal and honing in on your weak areas. And lastly, is this learning goal related to vital skills we're trying to learn, practice, and apply on exam day? I would say so. So we know here that we're trying to apply a certain skill of solving these questions, 2D equilibrium, drawing the right free body diagram, and applying the equations of equilibrium. But how did we know that? You have to know it. You have to know it somehow from prior knowledge or from learning it from an expert. These expert work solutions, a teacher guiding you through a solution, a good textbook that doesn't leave a lot of things unsaid. And from that resource, you know you're connecting the dots and you know that there is a procedure the teacher is applying or the worked example shows to get that final answer. And from that, we know there's always that step in drawing the right free body diagram. Then at the end, to get the final answer, they apply, let's say, some of the forces in the X, the equation of equilibrium, to get the final answer. So we know these are going to be vital skills in the work solutions that we see before. And this is why we have them in our learning goal. And they are related to a vital skill we need to know that we will apply on exam day. I want to finish off by saying this. Many courses will not establish good learning goals at the beginning of the course. So you have to establish these good learning goals for yourself. And my challenge for you is this. For the next FE section you plan to cover, write at least 3 learning goals. And from these 3, ask yourself this. Is your learning goal precise? Is it measurable? And is it related to vital skills that you want to practice and those vital skills that you will apply on exam day? If so, that's great. So use that as a motivator to even build better learning goals in the next sections. And if not, that's totally fine. It's expected. As you're learning the concepts, learning from worked examples, you will redefine and you can improve these learning goals. So improve your learning goal by making sure it's precise, measurable, and it's related to vital skills that you're practicing and those vital skills that will help you pass the FE exam.